Good science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown and amuse you?
Where you been?
Drunk. Wendy? Darling? Light of my life.
What is your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
No, it's because I'm on like a ton of amphetamines.
Yeah.
I wish. No, this movie made me feel like I was on a ton of amphetamines, so I'm just like, I'm pumped, dude. I'm pumped.
No, I was like, I was getting ecstasy off of my partner's tongue.
No, it
during
definitely,
this movie
it was
due to the
definitely
house
ecstasy
music.
for sure.
I loved it.
So this is the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast. That's Jordan. He's rolling over there.
I know, I'm feeling it.
I'm Levi over here, sober as a church bird. I got my tea here, so you know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a good kid.
I know you gotta stay sober and limber for this bad boy.
I really am stone cold sober, which is, you know.
I know it's never a way to get into these.
I have thoughts on it, but you know.
Yeah. Let's see how we do.
So, we're talking how the reason why we're talking about, you know, amphetamines and ecstasy and all this, and it's funny because this movie really has nothing to do with drugs, but it's just like the feeling it gives you is just such like
it's the chaotic
editing.
energy of it.
Yeah.
You would feel like you have to be pumped full of something. I mean, even if it's just like some creatine or something like some pre-workout.
Essence of 90s German house techno fucking music, right. And like this movie is just like could not exist in any other era. Of course we're talking about Lola Run.
Lola Run. And the Germans invented cinema and they invented house music. So we're kind of like here now.
If I know anything about the Germans, it's Nazis and techno.
And
that's
techno,
it.
right?
Thank God. The Nazis didn't have
like,
techno because it.
Yeah. Oh my God. Imagine how much they could have gotten done. Oh my God, dude. Okay. Holy shit. All right. If this is your first episode you've ever watched, we're not pro-Nazi at all.
No, we're definitely
quite the opposite.
It's really,
I didn't think we would get here, but
really
we're already here,
sour
baby.
The vibe of the whole thing.
We're like 2 minutes into it.
They're like, yeah, this music really bumps. Okay.
Yeah, it would. Oh my God. Okay.
So run, Lola Run.
There's no Nazis in this movie. So
there's not. So let me real quick because I did write a synopsis. So, but again, I don't double check my synopsises or anything because I'm like trash. So
you're beautiful.
Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay.
This movie is like really cool. It's so perfect.
It is cool.
Go for it.
For those of you not seen it, which is probably most of you, this is not. It's funny coming off the hills of like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, like some of the biggest, most well-known movies of all time. Then it's like,
I mean, it did win. That's the whole thing. It's like we put it on the poll on Reddit, and it won by a margin.
I'd never seen it, so anyway, let's get into it.
So I have, but
shut up. So this Manny, a small-time crook, calls Lola from a payphone, desperate. He lost $100,000 that belonged to an unforgiving crime boss. Panicked, he says he's going to rob the grocery store across the street in 20 minutes. Lola hangs up the phone and takes off. She rushes down the street into the bank to where her father works, only to find him there with another woman. He says he's going to start a new life without Lola and her mother and kicks her to the curb. She runs on, running into various people across the city. Faster, she makes it to Manny just as he walks into the store with his gun drawn. Too late. She involves herself, and the two of them make it off with the cash, but they don't make it far before Lola is gunned down in the street by the police. But that's only one way it could have played out. Back at her apartment, she hangs up the phone with Manny, only 20 minutes before he does something he can't take back. She bolts again straight to her dad's work, where he treats her like the kid once again. This time, fed up, she steals the security guard's gun and robs the place, holding her dear old dad at gunpoint the whole time. Miraculously, she gets away and makes it to Manny just in time. But he is run down in the street by an ambulance, one that she delayed earlier. Back at her apartment, she runs again to save her love. She runs straight to her dad's work, but this time she's delayed by a moment and misses her dad as he leaves with a colleague. Thinking fast, she goes to the nearby casino and miraculously again, wins roulette twice in a row, getting her the money they need. Meanwhile, due to the chain of reactions, Manny sees the homeless man who accidentally ended up with his money. He confronts him and gets it back just in time for the crime boss to be happy. Lola shows up, but everything is resolved, and the two of them walk down the road, $100,000 richer.
Well, $100,000, maybe. I don't. How much money did they make?
I don't know.
That's what I wanted to know, because it was like $3,500 on black, baby. She let it ride.
I don't know the math. I'm sure
I have
there's
no
people
idea,
out
yeah.
there I could figure. I was actually asking myself that, and I'm like, I'm not a math guy.
Because what is it? It was $20. Made her $3,500. So
she
what's
made-
$3,500? What? That's she's got to make like $5 million or something, right?
Yeah, it was like $100. She was just shy of like $100. She got $100.
So,
$100 chip.
oh, okay.
Put it on black, 20
Yeah.
black. It won, got her $3,500, and then she let it ride, and it got 20 black again, which is such
it'd
a
be
cool
like-
scene. Like, I don't know. It's
Well, dude, it's so dope, and it's actually kind of fun. The little. So I just like barely finished this movie, and I've had family in town, so things are a little discombobulated. But the little research I did for this movie, 20 was like a really, really significant part of this movie. Like that's how many minutes she had to make it.
Yeah.
20 black. And then there was another. There was something else. Well,
she's probably
something
20 years
sequences.
old.
Maybe 20 years. No, it's something like 20 picture sequence or something with some of the people.
Okay.
That went back. I can't remember. It was like, anyways, 20 was like some sort of like succinct thing. Like 20 minutes is very important in this. That was kind of cool how they did that. They like, I love that like bunched together. And it is such a fun movie. The like Groundhog Day style concept of movies is so fun.
I went
Love
in
like the time travel style.
I know.
It's
I
cool.
went in expecting absolutely nothing. I knew nothing about this movie.
So I've seen this movie before. This is one of those like midnight showings at Tower. I went and saw it just on a whim, and I forgot like 100% of this movie except for the photo when it like she bumps into somebody and it's like
the super fast like
and
photo
it shows,
montage.
Yeah, and it's that like, dude, and that's such a cool storytelling technique, and it's like, and it works really well, and it's like. I remember that stood out because that's the only part I remember.
It's super short, and it's in grand scheme of things, it's insignificant, but it fits the themes of like, the smallest action. It's like very much this movie is very tied up in like kind of it doesn't like try to ponder on it, but you can tell the filmmakers were very into the idea of like the butterfly effect and like what serious causality and like doing things sets off a chain of events because every time like the lady right at the beginning she runs into this lady. All 3 times, and it shows like all these different, and they're all very similar, just slightly different, slightly timed. That it's like the small effect changes the course of this lady's life drastically, and then from big effects, like later when she robs the bank, that other lady they like bonds with the teller over it, and they get married and have a life. And then
I love that
he's like a sub to her, which is great.
And that's amazing, dude.
That's like the best. I would love.
Right.
This movie's insane.
stuff.
I had a good time watching it. It is I think it'd be a great Tower Theater watch. Now that I like know as a fan, I would love to go see that at the Tower.
Right, and I didn't appreciate it enough. I 100% forgot that it was German. I'm like, it's so funny because like as I'm starting to watch this, I didn't have the subtitles on because it's like I watched it through Plex, which if you're a Patreon subscriber, you get Plex included. So, anyways,
good plug,
watching
bud.
Plex. Yeah, well, we gotta do it somehow. And then we have no ads for this, so we gotta like get ourselves.
I know
how we get supported.
If
we
you
appreciate
want,
all of our
if you want
patrons.
us to do an ad, please, I'll do your ad, bud.
Yeah, we'll do an ad for creatine or something, whatever. We'll do an ad for ecstasy.
We're the guys for creatine.
Yeah.
Are you a local drug dealer? Like, we'll do an ad for you.
Yeah, we really will. But yeah, dude, that like the German was so funny because I'm watching it and I'm like, wow, they're not speaking English. I was like, it's German.
And it's the most dialogue in the whole movie is like right at the beginning too. It's like
the scene, the tension between.
It fires off like Manny just starts rambling because I did the same thing. And I was like, oh, shit, hold on, let me back it up, put the subtitles on.
But I think this movie had...
It wastes no time.
Right, it wastes no time, but it has, like... So, a couple movies back, or the last movie we watched, Mad Max, Travis or somebody mentioned that like they didn't really like how there was like a block where it's like that love story, or did we talked about that?
That was me.
Wait,
Yeah.
that was you. Right. And so you were saying that where it like totally you felt like
killed the
like,
momentum.
Yeah, derailed you and just like kind of put you in a roadblock. In this, I feel like it's just enough time to breathe. It feels really good. Like I love when you get both their perspectives, where she's like grilling him and asking questions about, you'll love another woman, you gotta love it, and how he's just kind of like, I love you.
What would you do if I died and all this?
And then he gets his after his death, and so it's like it's fantastic because it's like the whole time it's like the movie's going, and then when it does stop, it's like for each character to like bond their relationship and kind of that one conversation where it's like, oh, they're in a good relationship, or at least You know what I was most caught off guard
and most pleasantly surprised by was the multimedia mixing.
Oh, dude, that's what I put in my review for this. Yeah, I was like, love it.
The opening credits has got an animation sequence, which opening credits, sure, all bets are off. But then when she first runs out of the house and it like does the one shot and pans to the TV,
that is so sexy, dude.
She's so good. She's running down the stairs and she's like, it's all animated on the TV. I was like, oh shit! Like that was the moment where the movie, I was like, buckle up, buckaroos! Like, this is what's up. And then the fact that it does it all three times, but it's like slightly different all three times. Mm-hmm. It's very satisfying to watch it because I did not know this movie. I thought the whole thing would be one concise story. So she's running along, she goes to her dad, and then that whole scene is shot. I thought originally, I'm like, is this 16 millimeter or something? What is this? But it's video.
Right.
They shot it on videotape.
Is it all on videotape? I didn't.
No.
That part.
It's 35 millimeter most of the movie.
Oh, okay.
But the scenes at the bank with the girl and
it's all shot like, because it does feel like telenovela style. Yeah. Like it does feel like soap opera.
They shot just those scenes in videotape.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so I was like, whoa, what? And it keeps going, and then they rob the bank and everything. And spoiler, she gets shot. I already said it in the synopsis, but. They didn't rob the bank yet. They robbed the store, and
one
she
of the
gets shot.
timelines. Yeah,
and I was like, "Holy shit, she just got shot!" Like it shocked me because I was like, I did not realize. I'm like, "Holy fuck!" I was just strapped in. I was like, "Oh, this is a thrill ride, bro. What's gonna happen?" And then like she gets killed. Like they get cornered by the police. I'm like, "Oh fuck, how are they gonna get out of this?" And then she gets shot, and I'm like, "What the hell?" And then it's like goes back to like, okay, these are the branching.
Did you look at the time?
I did. I was like, this has been like a half an hour. What is happening?
Yeah, right. Which I was like, because I'm like, God, I do not remember any of this. And so like when I looked at it, I was like, oh my God, yeah, what? And then it goes back to her. I love like it's so simple, and it's like, but it's the execution is done really well. Like it feels so comfortable, like being an indie movie. I love like. Feels so low budget, but it's like it's so cool, the bag flipping and then it goes to the phone flipping. The editing of this is like it's so sporadic, but it works. It's perfect.
We've talked about this before. We talked about it last week actually with Mad Max a little bit, how that like super fast cut editing really can make or break the type of movie you're doing. Where that was one of my complaints about Lord of the Rings action sequences, is the fast cut editing felt like cheap and like trying to whatever. But both Mad Max and Lola Run are such highly stylized films that are so, especially in the editing, not just the visual style, but the editing style, is very, very fast-paced and jarring on purpose. That this movie, like, you'll have that whole, like, old-school cuts where, like, the Easy Rider cut where, like, cuts to the next scene and then back, forth,
dude,
and then it's there,
I love that, yeah. And I love when it cuts. I love when you get like the like cross section on a panel, and you have one person's reaction to the other.
That's the thing.
Dude,
this
beautiful.
movie really kind of, I like how experimental it was, because they were using they were matching action on all these kinds of stuff. They were using crazy split frames. They like obviously the music and the editing, and that they're using videotape here. They're using 35 millimeter film there. They're using different types of music throughout the movie. I mean, it's mostly pretty fast-paced, but they got like a little bit of classical thrown in, and some of those moments. It's fucking cool, because, like, so I actually did, and I was going to maybe post on the Reddit. So you said you didn't really read up on it this time, But that video, that guy I watch, Good Bad Flicks, he does every now and again. Like I just like searched around Lola Run, and he had a video on it. I was like, oh, dope. So I watched it, and it's a quick. It's like 15 minutes. So maybe I'll put it on the Reddit, but it just talks about the making a little bit. And the guy who made it, he started the production company and everything that like went on to make more movies, and like he started the whole thing. So it's like he had total 100% creative control over everything. And it's like, I don't think, like you said, this movie feels so comfortable being like this indie movie that it's like, I don't think that this would have, I don't think a big studio would have taken the risks on this. I don't remember the budget.
No,
so
and it would have been, they would have like sterilized it. I feel like it would have been a Crank. That is kind of the like, that's kind of the like, or even what was that other? What's the other one that's a kind of a more enjoyable Crank version, where it's all first person. That's kind of cool. That's
Hardcore
like that
Henry.
Concept. Hardcore Henry. Yeah,
I like Crank. Crank's all right.
I know Crank's fine. No, I mean, yeah, it's like
it's got nothing on this movie though. I think.
Right, exactly. That's what I mean. I feel like they're like, if you liked this, watch Crank.
Yeah.
Because that's just they're literally the exact same movie. It's just Cranked is like, well, what if we make it a little more insane? Like, what if it's like a lot more intense?
And all the things.
Well,
like, it's like
not,
this movie,
not as much heart.
Obviously,
se,
it's not the. It's obviously nowhere near the first movie to do like the branching timelines kind of thing, because it's like it's just a narrative structure. It's not like canon in the movie. It's not like she's going back in time to save her boyfriend or save herself. It's just like the filmmakers are like, here's the 3 ways this could have played out in this 20-minute time span. The most highly intense. Like you always wonder, like,
well,
the smallest things led to this. You know.
Yeah. Any kind of bump, any kind of like the amount of time it took her to get down the stairs is like that's the first pinnacle, and that's pretty much what sets off all the chain of events. And so it's cool to see all the other little things build up, because it's like after she gets down the stairs, once she's outside in the world, it's like that, she gets derailed on different things. She gets like her momentum gets taken away. But yeah.
Were you paying attention to the time much? Because it's like I really also love that it's like pretty much real time.
Oh, like, yeah, okay. Is it? Like, I would imagine.
Yeah, like every sequence where he's like 20 minutes, boom, I looked at the clock that's right above my TV, and it's usually
that was
like
it.
20 minutes.
That was the other 20. The reason 20 minutes is so important in this movie. That was it, because the 20 on black, and like how everything was like, and then each sequence was 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
and it's, I don't know, it's a lot of fun, because it's like these because the characters are just like these like petty criminals, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see kind of like how like especially Lola, how her mind spills over, because it's like she submits to like these violence out of desperation. Like she helps her boy out of love too, supposedly. She loves Manny, and so she helps him rob the store when the time comes. She almost shoots that security guard right in the face by accident. And
I know, yeah.
She doesn't know how to use the gun,
Well, and it's cool that she learns in her other timeline too.
The other
how
time
safety
she knows.
Works.
Yeah,
I do. I did want to mention, like, what's great about this movie is they didn't have to explain the rules at all. She just basically she just goes like, no, that's it. That's all she says. It's like, oh, this is where I die. No, and then she wakes up and it's like
it's the satisfying. Because the final sequence, it's nice because it very much relies on. Like, everything's more just. Like, that's the ideal scenario, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, this is the one. Like, no one got hurt. We don't know for sure what's going on with her dad. She missed him. The one, her dad's associate, didn't crash his car and get beat up by those super tough German guys. Manny he's all right in the world, even though he's still a scummy crime guy, low-life crook.
Right, but the whole it's the optimism of like they have the money now, and so they can leave. It's like they can leave without Manny trying to like, or not without Manny, but whatever the other dude, I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
The mob boss dude trying to kill him, and so it's a happy ending, and it works great. And I do love that. Like, it is funny. They're like the crooks you can root for,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, I kind of got like a. Maybe not quite, but like, I forgot their names, but the 2 characters at the front of like Pulp Fiction, like those just like lover. Right. It's almost like this Bonnie and Clyde lover crime, like just crook, just like adrenaline junkies in a way. That's a lot of fun. It's a a character I enjoyed, because I mean this is obviously not a huge character focused movie, but
Right.
The security guard I kind of liked, because it's like the ambulance shows up several times, and can we just say that classic? What are those dudes doing walking that giant pane of glass through the street?
Oh my god, I forgot. I was like, that's perfect. Then see, and that's what I mean. It's like this movie doesn't take itself too seriously.
No.
Even though it's like at times it can get like really deep and introspective.
Yeah.
But then it's like that that fucking Looney Tunes cartoon scenario happens
And
every
it
time.
makes
I
jokes.
Love it.
You know,
I love
it's
it.
like there's
But no,
jokes.
it does. There's another. I know there was another part,
Especially in
that
the
was
photos.
Like a great. It was a great joke. Oh, because the photos are really funny. But then there was like a good back and forth between somebody.
God, there was. I know. I had a good chuckle. But
yeah, I remember
the
being like,
security guard, I
it's
liked
witty.
that the whole time you could tell he was like having some issues. And then the first time he's like, he just seems kind of sweaty and unhealthy. And then the second time he like almost has a heart attack during the bank robbery. And then the
Right.
third time it's him in the ambulance.
In the ambulance.
And
right.
I didn't really it didn't click with me right away. And I was like, oh shit. And like, it's all, and she comes in and comforts him. And see, it's like everything on that third one, it's like, okay, everything's right. Everything's right in the world, as right as it can be in their world. Their dad's still probably going to leave them and everything.
Yeah. The family like hasn't quite blown up yet, but it will eventually. Like that's the whole...
but it's like that day, no one's going to die that day. And now that bum has got he's got a gun now, so he can go do what he needs.
I'm kind of like, I hope he like robs somewhere. That'd be dope.
I know.
Like,
Watch
what
a
if-
Run,
yeah, what if
Lola
he
Run
brought-
sequel. It's like Run
Yeah.
Frederick,
Yeah.
So whatever fucking German name he's got.
Yeah.
Trash man.
Schwan.
Yeah.
But that's more Swedish. But dude, it's good. Everyone kind of. I mean, he got like he got a bicycle and a gun, so he's pretty much set.
No, he's living the dream. Oh, I like that guy was able to sell his bike. I don't remember the last, because he's one of the ones obviously that always has the pictures, and it's like one of them he gets beat up and his bike gets stolen. And then in the second one, I think that's the one he sells his bike to someone and then uses it to buy heroin and becomes a junkie.
You're right.
And then I don't remember the third one.
No, the third one he sells it for 70. He sells it for 70
He
francs,
sells
right?
it. Yeah, he does sell it,
Right,
but I feel
so
like
I
there's
don't-
a photo sequence too. But I don't
God,
know.
yeah, I don't remember.
But he sells it to
I
the
don't-
homeless guy because the homeless guy's got all the money.
I know, dude. That's so dope. That was one thing I wanted to do. I wanted to do the math on that and find out how much she made.
We'll figure out the math.
I know one day we'll post it on the Reddit. Come to r/coldest of knowledge and
If you know math,
we'll have it
come
posted.
tell us this very basic math. It's literally probably just
Well, would it be
whatever
like
the
a hun-
whatever the odds are.
He's
Whatever
like,
the
yeah,
odds
don't-
are winning it. It's like
Well, and can we talk about that casino for a minute too? When they were like, is
that
that
was
how
the-
it works in Germany? Like,
no,
you don't.
dude, there's no way. That was one of the first time. That was the one real time in the movie where I'm like, the budget's showing. You know what I mean? Because it's like they obviously just like took any building, like some lobby that would let them film there, and dressed it up as a casino. Like, no casinos look like that.
I don't know though, dude. It might be.
But-
it might be a
but then
cultural
again,
thing where it's like
maybe,
you come
I don't
in, you
know.
have to buy. You buy your chips at the gate, and then like you can come into the doors, and
And there's, like, a
'cause then,
dress code.
well, kind of, yeah, right. Because they were like, oh yeah, you're not gonna fit in there. But anyways, like in America, you can just like you can be flip flopped and sloppy as shit and walk into a casino and just start smoking and gambling. But I don't know. It seemed more like maybe that's just a certain kind of casino, a very classy casino. But I do like the supernatural aspect of all the things where when she screams the glass shatters and like
I was gonna
how that
say,
kinda comes-
yeah.
But I feel like that's just like interpretation of like raw emotion. It's fantastic. Like
Yeah, that is
really like this
fun.
movie.
What
And
and what?
what were you gonna say?
I don't remember.
Well,
Probably-
I was gonna say in my review. I think that this. So, dude, this is it's uncanny because I said, oh, the Wachowski sisters would have totally done this movie, like 100%. This
Oh,
feels
100%.
exactly like the same energy. What they were doing.
Wow,
And this
I'm
came
pretty
out-
sure
this
one
came
of
out-
them is Lola with the red hair and everything.
I know for real.
Like
real,
Lana
though, dude.
Wachowski, like looks
Right.
like Lola.
Right, straight up. And so the funny thing is, this director Tom Schmarvin,
Yep,
or
Tom
whatever his name is.
Schmarvin.
Tony or something. What is it, dude? Oh, it's Tom Tykwer.
Oh, yeah.
Picor. Yeah. So that he directed parts of Cloud Atlas.
Yeah,
and
I heard that. They
And
work together.
and 3 episodes of fucking Sense8. It's like he.
That makes
so I'm like
100% sense.
Of course. I'm like, it's so funny because I was like, oh wow, they seem like such a match made in heaven. Boom, they totally work together, and I didn't know that until after this, until after I did my like review.
It's weird how that
I was
works,
like,
right?
Oh,
Because
that's
it's
awesome.
like this movie. It's weird that I thought that too, because this movie's like nothing like The Matrix, for example. Like it's not really like the Wachowskis' filmography necessarily, but it's got the they got the same DNA in a way,
yeah,
which is interesting.
Same energy.
I mean, this movie is 100% different than The Matrix, but there's something about it that I feel they are connected. Like
Well, I guess
feel like
it-
Lola Run is a sequence in The Matrix. You know what I mean, or something.
Oh right, or dude, even have you seen Bound? Is that? I don't know, man. There could be.
Did they do?
It's funny.
Did they do Bound? They didn't
Yeah.
do Bound. Really?
That's what it says, dude. I'm going through their I'm going through their filmography, man.
Huh. I've not seen all of Bound, but I'm familiar with it.
So it's like, I'm like kind of sitting there like, they, who came first, man?
I don't know. Interesting.
That's pretty fun.
Fun fact. I didn't know until I watched that video I was telling you about. I'll have to look at his filmography fully. But the dude, I'm just pulling it up right now on Letterboxd. The Schmelvin, what's his name? The director, Tom Tykwer. Tykwer.
Yeah.
He directed, more importantly, Perfume. You ever seen that?
Yeah. No, I read the book, and so it's a fantastic
how is the
book?
book? I've been contemplating reading it because I liked
The book's
the movie.
great. You'd really like it. It's got a really nice flow.
Well, it's on
And
Libby, so I was gonna.
I've always wanted to freaking watch the movie because I read
Let's
it.
watch the movie because the movie I watched on a whim and I was like, oh shit, this movie's cool. And it's cool that he directed it because it does really, from what I remember about the movie, it's much more. I wonder now because I've kind of been wanting to rewatch it. I wonder now if I can see the similarities, the director, his like directorial style in Perfume. But from what I remember, it seems much more like restrained. I mean, it's a historical mystery thriller, I guess. But it's like lots of more long shots, like really like different pacing. Like it seems, I was surprised to see Perfume was like one of the next movies he did. And I was like, oh shit, that's kind of a different take. I kind of, but both those movies were really good. And Lola Run was quite popular because, I mean, I've heard about it as being highly influential on the early 2000s. I'm just like surprised to not see more from this guy. You know what I mean? Other than working with, I don't know, because he did what? The Hologram for a King, is what it says on here with the Tom Hanks one.
There was a series that he worked on too, called Babylon Berlin. I'm like, okay.
He's just doing his. Well, I mean, he got international. I guess maybe he just like wants to stick to his thing because he did like Lola Run. Did well internationally, and then Perfume and Cloud Atlas and like his works on those. Like, you would have thought he would have like broke out into the mainstream a little bit more. And I'd like to. I don't know. I'd like to see. I never saw Hologram for a King, but I remember seeing the trailer for it and was like, that looks awful. So I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
it's that one where. Did you see the trailer?
Oh wow! No.
Tom Hanks
Tom
literally
Hanks
is selling tech to like an Arab like royalty or something, and I remember seeing it and be like, "Huh, this is one of those Tom Hanks movies. Tom Hanks just does just a Tom Hanks."
Just walk around in a suit.
Yeah,
because I think Tom Hanks was like born in a suit, and he just whatever
Sure he was.
he just walks around.
So I don't know, but this movie, I can see the influence on a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? It's really cool. I wish more movies would play with the like a lot of movies are getting pretty experimental with like different timelines and like doing weird narrative. Like obviously this narrative's all over the place. The 90s were notorious for that. I mean, but different multimedia. Like I don't really see that often to like see.
Like Scott Pilgrim is kind of the one movie that I like think of all the time when I think of like what's the most perfectly executed kind of like comic book like video game
100%
movie.
Scott Pilgrim 100%.
Like right, like that movie that like captures it's like it wants to do what Pixel tried to do. Like it's like it wants to do what like other films have tried to do, and
But
I'm like,
succeeds.
It does it so well. Yeah. Like I think it's because it's like less is more. Like
Yeah.
in this movie, it's like
Scott
if there was
Pilgrim,
more animation, it'd be kind of awkward almost. It's
Scott
like,
Pilgrim's fucking perfect. I love that movie.
Scott Pilgrim's a fantastic movie.
But I was gonna say, actually, you know who I think kind of does it, and I wish they'd do more of it. Is I mean, I guess he has been doing more of it, but Wes Anderson.
Wesley Snipes.
I know,
He's directing.
Yeah, because like I know you haven't seen The French Connection, but like each sequence, like one sequence shot in black and white, one sequence shot in like certain
cool.
aspect
Okay.
ratio.
Oh, okay.
One's on like 35 millimeter, one's on like 16 millimeter. But like, even Grand Budapest Hotel kind of does that. With each timeline is shot differently. Like, the most of the stuff in the past is shot on like a 4x3 frame with like a different kind of film stock and a different color grade, and then like the other stuff is shot like super like panoramic, almost like 70, like huge. So it's like I like when people do that with a purpose, you know what I mean? Because this movie I feel like had its purpose, and those movies do too. You don't see a lot of it, and I wish people would dink around with that a little bit more. I guess it just seems jarring depending on what kind of movie you're doing. But it's like I want to see a movie that just like has just animation in it for a sec, or like part of it is shot just on video, because that's like who does that?
Right, and it made it seem like I didn't know it was on video, but as I was watching it, I was like, this feels different.
Yeah,
like it
I
almost
thought
like
it was 16 millimeter or something.
the quality, right?
Because I was like, this looks weird. Like, this looks like obviously a drop in quality, because I'm like, the exterior scenes up to this point of her running and everything have definitely been, like, I'm pretty sure 35 or really good 16. But then when it went to that, I was like, okay, this is obviously a different quality of camera. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting that they're, like, flopping back and forth like that. And then it wasn't until later that I was like, I realized that it was video. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, I know we're maybe jumping ahead a little bit, but it's like, why the fuck not? We're moving at the natural pace of this movie and of our conversation.
Yeah, right. Kind of like,
what was your favorite part? I'm curious as to what your favorite part of the movie was.
well, the freaking photo sequences on all of those are a delight. They're fantastic, especially the baby napper. I really like.
I like the baby napper. I like that they won the lottery and just shows the newspaper, because they had to it's literally one picture of a newspaper clipping, so they had to make the newspaper and then just take a photo of it, and for literally to be in the movie for like half a second, or less.
No, they just tell the story so well with those, and I love that. But I actually, something that I also appreciate, because it's weird. It's like, favorite part, it's there are a lot of good conversations. Like I love the subtext and the vagueness of her relationship with her dad. Like, are they biologically related? What is
I know, because
he has 3 daughters, and it's
in
like
the first one he drops the "I'm not even your real dad." You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then there's like the subtext between the his mistress that's pregnant, and she's like, would you raise my baby even if it wasn't yours? It's kind of interesting like that, and then he brings that up too with her, like, hey, I'm raising you even though you're not mine. And so it's kind of like that brings a depth to
it's
it.
Good
that's
characterization.
not just her running.
This movie doesn't have a lot of time to do characters. There's not a lot of dialogue, and it's like, but showing briefly what kind of man he is as a father through those two situations, it doesn't really give him character, because fuck him. It gives Lola character to her upbringing, to what kind of parents she has.
Well, and I love that, like, that is the moody, Gen Xer style, I guess, or even maybe is this, I guess she's probably a Gen Xer around there, maybe late, or like early millennial, but anyhow, it's like that moody attitude where it's totally, he's a fucking bank manager, and she's this alt girl that's got, dyed hair and a wild boyfriend.
And she definitely comes around with her issues, because the first time the security guard sees her, he's like, oh, Lola, here she comes.
Here's the princess. I love how he
Here's
does
trouble, basically.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Well, and the first time I saw it, the first sequence when she leaves the house, I thought it was like, when she left the room, I thought that was like her apartment. It was just her bedroom. So like they live in like a huge ass fucking nice penthouse, you know?
Yeah. And
Like,
the mom, it makes sense.
'cause-
Because it didn't really click
Yeah.
the first time till the second time.
First time,
She's just
right.
like on the phone and she's having like a somewhat
She's
adulterous
having
conversation.
yeah, I love it.
She's
yeah.
just around the house drinking, just like a rich housewife, German housewife. Who knows what they do? Bank
Right.
manager's wife, just fucking whatever. But I don't know. Yeah, it is
Yeah,
interesting to shed light on who she is through her environment and
Well-
through those ways of storytelling. That I'm glad, because it's like not an exposition dump. Because this movie,
Exactly.
the one thing I took
Right.
away from it is, I mean, like I took quite a bit, but the biggest thing is this movie almost feels like pure cinema. Like I can't think this movie could not exist as any other format, like maybe a video game or something. But it's like the
But
way
even then, it's too much. A video game
it would be a
takes-
totally
it's
different.
not
thing.
enough momentum. Yeah,
No,
right.
It'd be a totally
exactly.
different thing.
Yeah, you
And
can't
so-
read this momentum.
And well, the way like the multiple multimedias, the way it's shot, the way that it's edited, because like film editing is obviously very specific to film, is very like this movie seems like such a movie, like it's just a hardcore, like can only exist through the joys of filmmaking.
Yeah, it was
And,
a lot of fun for sure, dude. What was your favorite part?
100%. I saw it, so I thought maybe it was going to be the bank robbery scene, because I fucking loved the bank robbery. And you know me, I'm a sucker for, we've talked
Yeah.
about it before, I'm a sucker for heists, I'm a sucker for bank robberies specifically. But I saw the scene where they robbed the grocery store, and you know, I am also a sucker for that. But
Yeah.
the scene, up until that point, it was all hard pounding techno music, but when they run away, and it's the classical music, and they're like running into the street with their grocery bag full of cash from the store.
Yeah.
I was just like, I literally thought to myself, this is going to be my favorite thing I talk with Jordan about.
Hell yeah.
I love this.
It is. That's cinematic. That's
Yeah.
like that is
ticks the
that's
box.
the beauty of cinema.
Well,
Where
they
you
round
can
the
like,
corner and there's already a fuck
and-
ton of cops set up. And
Yeah,
they get closed on the street.
Yeah,
And I like that the cop actually seems startled and shoots her, because he like the bag of money. He's like distracted, like
Right.
"Ugh." Like he wasn't
Right.
expecting the gun to go off. It was kind of good.
Oh yeah.
No, that was definitely my favorite scene. Though. I love that. That moment a lot. I was just like, yes, like robbing that grocery store by the skin of their pants. It's like high adrenaline pumping. That
Well,
sweet
and you-
release of like, we did it for a minute, and the music changes to that beautiful classical music as they're running out, just for shit
yeah.
to just turn sideways again immediately. I love it.
It's her like her resolution is beautiful. I love a straightforward, simple story where he's like, you were late, and then at the end she was on time, and that made everything right.
Yep,
Like,
on time, and
you know.
and it didn't even matter. You know what I mean? At the end of the day,
Right at the end, yeah.
like
And that was
they
kind of
just-
that's
they
what
just-
I love. Yeah,
they came out ahead, so it's like solves
Yeah.
their problems. Another interesting thing I saw, I don't know if it was a Redditor. Someone said it though. It was a Redditor or something, but someone mentioned the every time she bumps into a person and like runs away, there's like that camera shutter noise.
the noise.
That,
yeah.
that reminds me of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That you know what I mean?
yeah.
And
Or even Saw, right?
yeah, and
do
and
that-
so
they
in
do that
this,
bit.
it's interesting that it's just like that's the snapshot of the two lives intercrossing, and it's the last time they see each other, and then but right at the very end of the movie, you hear that noise again, and it had to have been Reddit. So the person was like, "Is that the last time? Like, is she gonna go her own way now that she, you know, she did all this for Manny, and he didn't even seem to notice or care. Like she came through for her, but is that the beginning of the end for them? Because she can go start her own life now and do what she wants to do in her life, or alternatively, I think it's more like the end for us. You know, that's our goodbye to those characters to see. You know, it's like they probably won't last, or if they keep going the way they're gonna go, they're probably gonna die. Honestly, but I guess that's what the whole thing's about. Because it's like both the first two times end in one of their deaths, and so it's like, you know, live fast and die young, I guess. You know,
Right. Yeah. That's
it's not-
cool. That's awesome. I didn't really pick that up.
I think it's just kind of an interesting thing because it's like in the, not that it matters, but it's just another little thing with their relationship. It's kind of because they don't really spend a lot of time together in the movie, obviously, other than those scenes
right. Just
where
the
they're laying in
flashbacks,
bed,
yeah.
which again is just long enough to not be like overstay its welcome. It's the perfect breathing room.
Yeah.
So let's see. I don't have very many Reddits, but I got a couple.
Got a good one.
So Deidrio58 says, great movie, and I love the soundtrack. Speaking as a teen in the 90s when I watched it, I hope you enjoy, because that's what I was watching. And then Gummy Bear Attack says, I really enjoy this movie. I'll need to give it a rewatch. Who is that? Is that Thomas? Anyway. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, thank you. Thank you for commenting. It was a lot of fun. Let's see. Did Travis leave us one?
Yes, he's got a little message. I'll read you the budget too, real quick. While you're looking
pull me up a.
It was the Money Minute here. Your solid like low budget film was 3.5 mil, which is pretty good, and then it just returned 7.2. So, it's like that. Yeah, those are solid numbers to work with. That's like this was probably had to have been like run through an indie circuit or something because it's got that like yeah, it's fun to watch a movie like this. Like I just kind of because we've been watching such huge epic movies that like have hundreds of millions of dollars put into them, and I'm like it's cool, but there are times where I'm like you only get like one or two unique shots. The rest of it is all just shot like masters or just shot like your basic wide to basic masters. And so it's like there's like nothing. It's nice because everything that is like coming together on the screen works really well. So everybody's coming in strong, but cinematography kind of just you get like a couple fanciful, sweeping, beautiful like camera work, and the rest of the time it's you pretty much everybody else is doing the work. So it's kind of fun when you get that like you get all the energy involved and you get everybody there, and so it's like. This because even the sound editing in this was like fantastic, and so it's like when he like drops the gun in the slow motion, it makes this like thunk noise, and it like drops really hard, and so it's just like it's cool. It's like I like when you get to watch it and you're kind of like it's fun. Like it reminds me of. Did you ever watch Pieces of April? Oh, that's super low budget. Like that was probably made for $1 million, and then it's shot on all like 16, but then it goes from like 16 to like I probably just cheaper 16 or something because it like. The film grain like changes a lot, and I'm like, yeah, you can just it gets like this. It's got some raw energy to it, and it's just them getting ready for Thanksgiving. So I highly recommend you should watch that.
I'll put it on my watch list.
Yeah.
So here's Travis's thing. You ready? Hopefully you can hear it.
Yeah, lay it on me.
Hey guys, Run Lola Run was a fast-paced, easy-to-get-on-board movie. I was surprised both times the main characters were seriously or fatally injured. So the third time around, I was expecting something more. I liked everything about this movie except the what's in the bag ending. In the future, I can see Run Lola Run being used as a period piece for the late 90s. The techno score would only fit in the late 90s, in my opinion. So my question for you two is, what movies would you recommend to future movie lovers on how were the 90s in terms of attitude, dress, and or music? Thanks.
Did you listen to this previous?
I knew no. It's so funny. I didn't because I didn't have time, and I was like, and I'm like, I'll probably be able to hear it because it's been working. No, of course it didn't work.
You know why I think it's been working is because I have so much noise in my room that it doesn't normally cancel it out. So it's used to because I got like 2 fans on because it's so fucking hot.
Dude, I know, Sam.
Anyway,
we're melting.
So thank you, Travis, and to you, Jordan. He
what
he says it's interesting the way it comes about, but mainly his question. He's saying the techno score would fit any late '90s in his opinion, and this is like almost like a period piece for '90s films. Like it's just such a snapshot of this type of '90s, which I'd agree. And he says so. The question is, which movies would you recommend to future movie lovers? On how the 90s were in terms of attitude, dress, and music. So it's like, what would be like the snapshot of the like 90s, as we would say, for like film,
For,
like
like a-
oh yeah, go back and watch this to see. That's
Right,
not
like
like
film-
nostalgic, but like probably came out.
Film historians or whatever would want to
yeah,
like
and like
introduce-
this is the perfect thing of the night.
That's tricky, man. Because it's like it just depends what kind of energy you're trying to capture. This movie really does capture like this captures kind of like a fanciful
I felt
like youthful love story where
I
like
felt like
kids,
a German in the 90s.
right?
German.
Really though, really.
So I
But
don't
it's but what's great about this movie though is it feels super universal. Like that's what's wild. Is
Yeah,
like
because you
it
didn't
doesn't
even
feel
remember
like,
it was German.
no, right, exactly. And it doesn't feel like it had to been. It didn't have to be just German. It could
No,
have like
I'm
this could have been set
surprised-
anywhere.
I'm surprised there wasn't a remake somewhere. You know what I mean? Like an American remake somewhere. Like
Right. I mean that's
surprised
yeah, well,
someone didn't
surpri-
try to bank off that.
This is complete complete segue. But when I was looking through the director of this movie, I think he did like the musical score or something. He was involved in a remake of M in like 2018 or 17. And I'm like,
we talked about that when we
I don't-
did M briefly. That they did a remake, and we were like, "What the fuck?" But like,
yeah. And I'm kind of like now I'm like, oh, okay, well, I don't know. That's kind of interesting that they would. So I'm like, it'd be kind of fun to see a Run Lola Run now.
Yeah.
And like, what would the music be? Like, it'd probably be like Zendaya who plays her and like runs around, like runs through, and it's just like fucking like I don't know, the Black Keys new album or something. Like, what would it be? I don't even know who it would be. But no, this. Oh yeah, to answer his question.
to answer your question, I don't know for sure, but like the epitome of '90s move, like the '90s vibes is I was a kid in the '90s, so I don't know for sure. But from what I understand, from what I know now, I would say like Slacker
Oh, dude, yeah.
would be mine.
Slacker
Probably-
totally gets.
Slackers and Clerks, you know what I mean, in a way, but I think Slackers more so.
That definitely. It
I
captures a
don't
lot
remember-
of people.
I don't remember
That's the
the
thing.
music. That's the thing. I remember
Yeah.
like it's got the vibe. It's got like this weird philosophical pondering that's like also and it's like creatively energetic while also like weirdly like chill / bored, which I think is like
Kind of,
a very
right.
much like '90s.
The
you know,
discontent of the '90s child, like it's
Yeah.
just the '90s
is
youth.
the reason why they call them Gen Xers, you know, it's like they're just like, it's whatever, man. We're just like fucking just like having like a freeform artist loft and like, like
Yeah.
but the thing is I don't remember the music from that movie at all. So it's like as far as music goes,
Well, does it even have a soundtrack? I thought it was all like diegetic.
yeah.
I thought it all
most-
just came from
it
the
is
city
mostly-
streets, boom
it is
boxes,
mostly.
and cafes and shit. But that's fantastic too. So it's like it is interesting. There are certain movies like I'm trying to think. There was, God, like Road Trip. Honestly, can capture some interesting.
Yeah,
even
like
though
America,
Road Trip might have been like 2001 or something. But
late. There's
that-
definitely a lot of movies that really
right.
encapsulate late '90s, early 2000s, like
Yeah.
Road Trip and like American Pie, because they all got the
Right.
Blink-182 soundtrack, and like everyone dressed like that, and everyone fucked pies back then. So
Right. No, I mean it was kind of standard. But it's interesting, man. I don't know what I like that. Travis, I'm curious to know next time you call in, you should give your opinion too, cuz I'm curious to hear your opinion. You were a little older in the 90s than us, so like you probably kind of had your finger on the pulse a little bit more. Like I'm trying to think there's got to be great like because like The Matrix has a lot of great music in it too.
the
It's like,
movie, I think another movie that captures kind of like the vibe, but also I don't know. I didn't think of this. I have a poster of it right there. But also might be my if you liked this, watch this. Trainspotting.
oh duh. Trainspotting's perfect.
Trainspotting, and I also think it works really well. If you liked Run Lola Run, you should watch Trainspotting. If you haven't seen
Yeah.
it, but if you've seen Run Lola Run, chances are you've already seen Trainspotting.
Trainspotting's
but
probably
Trainspotting, because Trainspotting's got kind of that energy too.
100%, dude. Because they talk about in Trainspotting, it's cool because it's a lot more character study, and they actually they reflect on the fact that like the times are changing, life is changing, music changes, drugs change, like things are changing, and that really, dude. Oh man, Trainspotting's such a good movie. That totally that's like perfect. Yeah,
I haven't watched it. It's been a while since I've watched it. I mean, I watched it obsessively.
Yeah.
Years and years past. I've watched Trainspotting dozens of times probably.
Yeah.
But
Well, and I guess
it's been a while
for
since I
more
watched it,
underground, SLC Punk does a fantastic job.
I was
at
literally about
capturing-
to say, but
that-
that
yeah.
one's. It's funny because it
That's like a
captures
little
the
80s, huh?
'90s. Yeah, it captures the
But-
'90s really well, and it was filmed in the '90s, but it's supposed to be set
Like-
in the '80s. But
Yeah.
it doesn't really feel like it, other than the fact that they talk about Ronald Reagan, and it's like that's when the punk
Right.
scene really popped off. But it does feel, it feels '90s. It certainly was shot. God, SLC Punk's a great movie too. Let's find
That is,
out
yeah.
whatever genre we do next. It's because it's like I feel like
Well,
those
dude,
are in the same genre.
I'm saying we
almost.
got to do decades one day and go like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s or something, you know.
Just do decades and do one decade
dec-
a week, or do a whole month dedicated to a decade. We could just. I mean,
A whole month. A whole month dedicated decade would be kind of cool, but it's also like, yeah.
I mean, it's only 4
I mean-
movies. There's a lot of movies, bud.
I know. So that's something out there in
Well,
the future.
fuck y'all. We're probably gonna do '90s movies next month. Like,
I know, right? We really should. Yeah, we don't have anything set yet, so
yeah, maybe.
let's do it. I've been enjoying this. I've been enjoying this like 90s 90-minute movies, which is this month. 90-minute movies or less.
I
Because
like-
we're trying to just capture like quick, simple.
I like that. Yeah, and we both have a lot going on in our life right now, so it's perfect.
So it actually is working out, yeah.
But I think that I like that we've been doing not just like we've kind of stepped away from genres for a minute, because it's like blockbuster's not really a genre. You know what I mean? Like we watched Mad Max, so I don't know. It gives it a variety. You know what I mean? And so it's like I feel like 90 movies, because then we're obviously going to step heavily into genre for at least 2 months, come October and November. Because for those of you who don't know, October obviously we're watching nothing but horror movies exclusively.
30 days, baby.
Yeah, and then November around here is Western Movie Month, boys and girls. So anyway, I have nothing else to say about this movie. It's pretty great. It doesn't it didn't like shatter my world and my worldview.
No,
but it's a really good film and it's really enjoyable and it's short. It's fast paced. It keeps your full attention. I literally got done watching it and I went and told Mary, I'm like, you suck. You should have watched this.
Right, same. Well, I watched this on my cell phone, so it's kind of one of those like I watched it during. I was like watching the kids as I was watching it. So
Really?
you know,
Don't touch that.
Well, no, I was watching it with Royce, and she was loving it, dude. She started singing. There's one song, God, I can't remember what the lyrics were, but they were like you know like racing to your death or something like that. Racing like, and she started singing along to it. I'm like, hell yeah, dude.
That's funny.
I was like, yeah, it was great, man. But I'm excited for freaking next week's movie, which I hope you have time to watch because I'm kind of bummed because it's one I've already seen, but it's a fantastic film. So I'm very excited to watch it again. And
I wasn't sure if you'd seen it, so I was.
Oh, dude, yeah. No, I'm like, what if this month? I bet you this month I'll have seen every movie. let's see how it goes.
Maybe. Let's say I was glad I didn't see Run Lola Run, and then so anyway, so the next 90-minute movie we're watching is Attack the Block.
Hell yeah. Such a dude. I'm so excited to talk about this movie though because I love it.
I love it a lot too.
Yeah.
I think I remember the last time I watched it, but I wasn't really paying attention. Do you remember? Because you were there.
Wait, I was there? Was it like a birthday or something?
It was my bachelor party.
Oh no, I was not watching it.
No one was watching it. But it was on.
I was I might have been at the the chocolate fountain and the very PG-13 thing that we did.
Yeah, it was very PG-13. It was the late at the wee hours of the morning when we were all trying to wind down.
But
it was on casually, and I'm sure you were arguing with Zach. I think is what was going on.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. So Attack the Block, great movie, a lot of fun. Excited to watch that, and hopefully that's one I can watch with my wife. I'm surprised. So on my list, I just put up some random movies just to see, and I'm surprised how well some of them did. Like Phone Booth almost won,
dude.
Which I kind of wanted to watch just because I know you've never seen it, and it's Joel Schumacher's best movie, I think.
I know.
But Gummo got a lot farther than I thought it would.
Third. No, and I love it, dude. Did you see? So this is we're kind of this is a freeform podcast episode today because Run Lola Run's fantastic. Go see it. But somebody, can I read the top comment for Gummo
Yeah,
for you? So on the Reddit, if you guys come out there, you can vote for the movies that we watch, and you can comment on that post and comment the movies that you have recommendations for. Comment on whatever you would like. It's the world's
What's
your
something
oyster.
you want to go on the poll? What do you think about the movies?
Yeah,
Whatever.
Right. Future movies, future ideas, anything.
Future genres. Tell us.
But yeah, we love it. But somebody was like, fuck Gummo. I'd rather masturbate with sandpaper. That's beautiful. Oh my God, Gummo's the greatest, dude. What was I?
I don't remember. I don't remember Gummo at all, except for the vibe, because it was one of the movies I watched late night at John's house. It's one of those movies that I watched with like Patrick and Chet, like
Dude.
super hammered, and so it's like I don't really remember Gummo.
Oh,
but I like Harmony Korine, so it's like
That's me too. No, so what it was is we just watched What's Eating Gilbert Grape the other night.
Oh, cool.
And I'm like, man, What's Eating Gilbert Grape is like the Middle America, super like Bible Belt, like digestible film, and I'm like, they should watch Gummo if they want. oh my god, like, Gummo's got the same energy as that, but it's off. It's just, it's so depressing and it's so like gross. Harmony Korine is so gross, and I love it though. I love his work.
So gross. Like I don't know what it is. Because it's like we got into Harmony Korine when we got into like Larry David and Harmony Korine at the same time,
right,
which obviously because he wrote Kids as well. But
and they're I think they're a better duo personally. Harmony Korine when he's on his own, I love him, but he's like
little much.
He's not. It's like you're not like, hey, have you seen like whatever Trump trash humpers or whatever?
Yeah,
like,
dude, I've seen trash humpers.
You're not talking to casuals out there about trash humpers.
No, right?
maybe Spring Breakers, but like
it's fucking. And it's funny because I've seen trash humpers, but I haven't seen
Spring Breakers. Spring Breakers is fantastic, but it's like any person who's like, oh, I like that. The main dude in it, whatever.
James Franco.
I'll see the Franco. He's funny. And they go in there and they're like, I don't like this. What's he doing?
Well, it's interesting, and I wish we were doing this is ramble talk here.
This is ramble. We're in ramble territory. If you've hung out this long, God bless you.
Yeah, thanks for sticking around. You can turn us off if you want.
You can end this episode now. But there's like 8 minutes left.
Jenny,
it's us.
I almost lost my mind because Jenny just watched The Beach Bum, which is Harmony Korine's last movie.
I saw that. I haven't seen it.
She didn't give it a rating or a review. So I'm like, I was like going to text David. I'd be like, what the fuck did Jenny think of The Beach Bum? And you obviously watched it too, because
right, clearly.
You should watch The Beach Bum because it's like surprisingly optimistic and like like compared to most of his movies, it's like pretty chill. Now I feel like I'm losing my mind though. But anyway, so thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
That was a good one.
Appreciate it.
Beach Bum was I remember The Beach Bum being the first movie that I ever watched when I had a Letterboxd, because I got Letterboxd 2019. It was the first movie I ever logged.
Oh shit! Really? What's your review? And why you looked that up? Everybody out in Patreon world, you're so beautiful and you're amazing, and I love you so much. I'll give you a little ASMR for tickle your eardrums. And I haven't given stickers out for a minute, so I will just give extra stickers out. I've been I don't know, more busy than I expected I would be in my life. But here we are. You know what? We love who you are, and you know who you are.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll get you your stickers. Thanks to our patrons. Go,
Hugs and kisses.
Everyone that thinks on the Reddit, go fucking watch Attack the Block. We'll be back next week talking about Attack the Block. Hopefully, I mean, I'll have a kid by then, so it might be a little iffy, but we'll make it happen.
Right, yeah.
I better have a kid by then, because we're getting a deuce this fucking weekend. But I gave it 4 stars, no review.
Oh, okay. 4 stars, no review. Nice.
I wasn't doing a review at the time.
I know.
I wasn't used to it yet. First movie. Yeah. Anyway, goodbye.
Yeah. Bye. Yeah. Oh, what do I hit again? Oh, yeah. Stop.